Welcome back to Simple Spoonfuls, where I cook simple seasonal recipes to inspire. Have you ever been to a fancy restaurant and on the menu you see cedar planked salmon? It sounds really fancy, but honestly could not be easier, and today I'm going to show you how we do it. This is actually a recipe from my latest cookbook, the Simple Spoonfuls summer issue, and on the cedar planks we are going to be making our blackened salmon with Mexican street corn salsa. These are a family favorite and I know you guys are going to love it too. When it comes to cooking with cedar planks, there's really only one step that's super crucial, and that's going to be that we need to soak this first. If we were to put it on the grill dry, it would catch fire. So what we're going to do is soak it for at least 30 minutes and up to 2 hours. You can use water if that's what you have on hand, but it's kind of nice to just take an extra step, and you could soak it in wine or beer or sake. Cider is delicious, and that's just going to impart even more flavor, because as we soak these guys, what's going to happen is that you put them on the hot grill, and then as these heat up, the steam from the cedar plank is going to kind of rise up into the fish or whatever it is you're cooking on here. And then that's just going to impart even more flavor. And it's also going to keep it super tender. These create an indirect heat from the flame so that it keeps it from drying out too quick. And so it's just a really beautiful way to cook. Since we're making tacos, I'm going to go ahead and use some Mexican beer. Lager or amber would work really nicely here. It's just going to add a little bit more flavor, and it's super easy to do, so why not? You just want to make sure that the board is completely submerged. And sometimes, all the time, what you're probably going to have to do is weigh it down with something, because the wood is naturally going to want to float and rise to the surface. I'm going to put this bowl on here and we'll give it at least 30 minutes, if not 2 hours. And in the meantime, I can go ahead and fire up the grill, and I'm going to cook off the corn that we're going to char for the street corn salsa. Alrighty, our grill is hot, so we're gonna go ahead and take our corn that we've already shucked. We don't wanna leave the ears on it, because what happens is we wanna get that nice, like, charred grill marks on here. We're just gonna put them directly onto the grill. We're gonna leave them on for about 5 minutes, just long enough that they start to get black in a couple little spots. We don't want them to be completely cooked through and softened, because we still want a little bit of that, like, raw crunch and sweetness that you get when you bite into the salsa. Okay, as you can see, these are good to go, so we're gonna pull them off the grill and take them inside, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut all the kernels off of the cob. And one thing I like to do is I'll take a small bowl and flip it upside down and put it inside the big bowl, and that's gonna allow me something to kind of brace the corn on as I'm cutting the kernels off, and then the big bowl can kind of collect all the kernels as they fall. The bigger the bowl, the better, because sometimes they kind of go flying everywhere. And you're just gonna wanna cut as close to the core as possible. A sharp knife always helps. And it should cut off really easy, because it's already been cooked, slightly softened. And again, we just wanna make sure we have about 2.5 cups worth. You don't want to cut too close to the center, you'll start to feel a lot of resistance. That's going to be really fibrous and tough. We just want to make sure that the kernels kind of glide off easily. We're going to need about 1/4 cup of shallot in here, so we're going to go ahead and dice it up, and we want it diced up pretty small so that it can just incorporate really well. The recipe doesn't call for jalapenos, but that's something I also add frequently, especially if I'm not serving them to my kids. So 1/4 cup of shallot is about 1 medium to large size shallot, and you can just eyeball it, it doesn't have to be exact. Time to build the sauce. We're going to start with some lime juice. It's equivalent to about 1 lime juiced, right in there. All right, and then we have minced garlic, sour cream, mayonnaise, about equal ratio between those two. My favorite seasoning, cumin powder, and then some feta cheese. Then once this is all incorporated, I'm going to add some fresh cilantro at the end. I don't want to add it too soon, because then it'll kind of turn brown in there. We want to retain that nice bright green color. Our cedar plank has been soaking for about 30 minutes now, so I went and drained off the liquid. And then next thing we're going to do is just kind of pat it dry a little bit. We don't want a lot of excess liquid on here. And then we can go ahead and place our salmon fillet right on top. And we're going to pat that dry as well. This will make it easier for our spices to adhere. We're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil right on top. Just going to kind of pat that in so we have a nice coating, maybe just like about a tablespoon or so. And then we can sprinkle on our blackening seasoning. Okay, our cedar plank is soaked, our salmon is prepped with the beautiful blackening seasoning. It's time to finally get it on the grill. You can place the cedar plank directly on the grill. We don't need foil or anything like that. And then we're gonna close the lid and let it bake for about 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the thickness of the salmon. A center cut piece is going to take a little bit longer because it'll be thicker. This tail piece might only take 8 minutes. It depends on how hot your barbecue gets, so you just want to keep a close eye on it. You can also use a meat thermometer. You'd want to pull it off at about 135 degrees, knowing that it's going to continue to have that carryover cooking after you pull it off, and that'll be a perfect medium rare. Okay, salmon is off the grill. You can see the cedar plank got really dark. If we hadn't soaked it, it for sure would have caught on fire, definitely. And since I already have the grill hot, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my corn tortillas right on the grill as well. It'll make them a little bit more pliable, get some nice little grill marks as well, and then we can go ahead and start assembling and eating them. It is finally time to start assembling these tacos. I am so excited. What I like to do is use a spatula to kind of break the salmon up into chunks. And then that is also going to help it release from the skin that we left on while we were cooking, because it's much easier to take it off the skin once it's already cooked. It'll just slide right off. Oh, like good size, bite-sized chunks here. Then you can take your tortilla that we've already kind of warmed up so it's nice and pliable. The salmon inside there. We're going to top it with a spoonful of our delicious street corn salsa. Generous spoonful. And then I like to top it with just a little bit more of the cheese. You can use feta or cotija depending on what's easier for you to find. And then I also put a couple sprigs of fresh cilantro on top too. And I always serve it with lime wedges on the side, so you can give those a little squeeze over the top as well, and that's really gonna just like bring the flavors to life. I can't even begin to tell you how good these tacos are. I cannot wait to dig in. You can find the full recipe in the summer issue of the Simple Spoonfuls cookbook, which is available now. I hope you'll give cooking on a cedar plank a try this summer. It's such an easy way to add more flavor to your food and just have a little bit of fun in the kitchen while you're at it. In the meantime, happy cooking and thanks for watching.